Okay, I am trying to share today some thoughts about emotional eating. And if this is a category that you're like, I should study this because I could see this in my life, then we are going to go over a few things. Now, I kind of don't even know where to start, but emotions, I think, is a great word to start with. That the emotions that we experience, anytime we try to change the emotion we're experiencing, that's literally called buffering, which is like, if you think of a computer, how it like has the circle and it goes like this and your brain's trying to catch up to. And so it just takes you away from what you can learn about those emotions. And there's emotions that happen. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, is like, we just experience random emotions too. And sometimes we don't have to figure out everything of why this and why that and use our cognitive brain. So I in the life book is such a great resource in element number 4, is about emotional eating. And just to kind of give you like that overview, Dr. A talks about being the dominant force in our life, and that was the webinar from last night. I encourage you guys to take a look at that if you weren't able to listen live. We're the dominant force whether we like it or whether we don't, because nobody else is in charge of our lives. And a huge part of that is Dr. A talks right here that people have the natural tendency to look outside of themselves to explain why life is happening to them. You guys, personal responsibility, you will never change anything without taking that personal responsibility. So if you think it's your divorce or any other type of thing that's getting in the way, then it's going to really not give you the power in order to change. So he talked about a lot of people are sleepwalking through life, and the consciousness that they're not sensitive to the reactive state that they're in. So like, how reactive are you? So reactive meaning quick to react instead of responding. And then he talks about above and below the line. And that's a huge concept. It's not good, bad. Open, curious, growth mindset is above the line. Closed, defensive, wanting to be right. He talks about, this is from the Conscious Leadership of 15 Steps of Conscious Leadership, and he talks about it being that you're 90% of the time below the line. That means that we're human, and that means that it's also a place that we can learn and grow. And so, yes, we would love to say that we're 90%, that we're above the line a lot of the time, but we're really not. And so having that awareness, it's like giving you the opportunity to learn and grow. And then he talks about the drama triangle, and he says it starts with self-awareness, choices that are not in your own best interest, then you cannot improve. So if you're unaware, you can't improve. So with the drama triangle, it is pretty powerful. We have it's right here. We have the victim, the villain here, and the hero. And if you learn about these things, I'll take a picture and put it into our chat thread. But it is finding which one you're at, and you have a tendency to like one of them more than the other, but you're in all of them really often. And so that awareness can help you take more personal responsibility as well. So he talks about micro habits and how important they are, and understanding stimulus and response. You have a stimulus and then you have a response. You see the cookie on the counter, what is your response? You feel stressed at work, what is your response? There's a habit loop happening there. So he's going to talk about that too. He talks about our lower brains, which I kind of taught you about earlier, the limbic system. And, he shows that we have a human brain, and below that a Labrador brain, which is our emotional response, and then the lizard brain, which is an automatic stimulus. And you can think of the animals and how they respond differently. So we do that within our brain. The most important habit of health that you will learn is self-awareness. Pretty powerful, right? He also talks about how our breathing changes and our heart rate increases when we feel something isn't quite right. So he talks about stop, challenge, and choose. And in between, I've told you, Viktor Frankl, in between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is your power to choose, and in that choice lies your freedom and your growth. So stop, your mind and your body are linked. The physical sensations take control of your current condition. Challenge, by becoming good at stopping, you're putting yourself in position to know how to control your response to negative feeling or emotion. Usually the negative feeling are generated when our ego and identity are somehow threatened. That's really interesting to kind of watch. And so what things are important to you, a lot of times you'll have an ego around it. So he says, if I drink a glass of water before talking or taking a deep breath, which when he's on stage, and if he ever gets triggered, he's always drinking water on stage. It's kind of funny. So your detected feeling is a cue, which signals the stop. And the routine is your challenge of sorting things out of what's going on. And the reward is making the right choice by choosing an action that will support your goals. So these are some of the things that he talks about in element 4 again. And so when we're emotionally upset, stressed, or overthinking, our breathing becomes shallow. So learning how to have conscious breath is a really important part of it. So there is a tool I want to teach you guys. It's how to process emotions. So Dr. A talks about this a lot now. He doesn't have it necessarily in this book, but it was from that book, 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And there's 5 steps to processing emotions. And Amber has a video that I'm just I can go through it with you. But I think if you really want to figure out this emotional eating stuff, memorizing this PDF is invaluable. So I will put that in the Google Doc so that you can reference that. And that can be, today it's a long video. There's just too much to go over. And I haven't shared a story yet. Just kind of thinking about yourself and the times that you've had emotional eating. If we go into the shame around that, it's not going to serve us and we'll never get out of it. We have to take responsibility in some manner without going below the line into the shame mode, because you can't shift out of that. So you have to be like, okay, how did I participate? And how can I create more health in a healthier way to respond to these things? And of course you did XYZ, because look at your whole life experience and what skills have you learned from it? And nobody's taught us how to deal with emotions. It's totally normal, but now we're getting more knowledge base. Now we have some resources to study. Now we